and a expression beyond the traditional gender roles. I think that those work for a lot of people, but not everybody. So I think that we're moving in a positive direction in that regard.
Okay, thanks. Genevieve, love to have you. Love to see you. Thanks for being here, and we'll get into it in the open, I'm sure. Allie, please go ahead.
Thank you. Hello. So, couple things. I'm a YouTuber. I am also a wife. I am about to be a mom for the first time ever. Active advocate of people moving to the Midwest because the cost of living is high, and I think everyone's missing out by not being in the wheat fields. So everyone should just, have a mass exodus and come out here. I promote trying to bring back the nuclear and the extended family, and I am here for modern women who have traditional values or what that would look like, because everyone wants to be, traditional, but we're past the Industrial Revolution. So the definition of that is shifting, but those values and those ideals are still pretty useful. So that's what I do on my side of things over on YouTube.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for being willing to come on and discuss your point of view. And we'll get into it as we go. Last but certainly not least, Destiny, please.
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of people that are feeling lost and without purpose. I don't think that it is healthy to frame these conversations constantly as a crisis of masculinity, because I feel like it always sets us up in a male versus female paradigm. And I think that addressing all of the issues that men are facing as being oppositional or adversarial to women is destroying men's brains. I think that some of the people that are probably the least equipped to deal with the world are people that are pursuing red pill content. And I think that the second most least able to pursue positivity in the world are probably people that massively consume red pill content. So I think that the idea that we need to continue harping on male masculinity, like that's going to fix things or make people better or do anything, I think is a red herring. And I think instead we should probably work on alleviating the broader issues that we feel in society that are improving everybody's lives, rather than setting up this weird male versus female paradigm for how to talk about issues.
Fair enough. And with that, feel free to get into it. If you have troubles getting in, please let me see your hands. Otherwise, start the show, and I'll be interjecting with questions to kind of clarify things and maybe drive discussion along if I feel we're getting off track, or frankly, if I'm bored. So continue, please. Wonderful. Not all at once. Oh, well, I guess I'll start with this, right, then. So we can all acknowledge, I think, that society is changing and how we view each other and how we view gender norms and how we view gender roles and things like that. There is, I know you don't like to refer to it as a crisis of masculinity, but there does seem to be something changing and going wrong, right? And so I guess I would ask, in regards to both men and women, right? Do they need today that they don't seem to be getting? What is lacking in either how we talk about it, how people interact in these spaces? What are we lacking? What are we missing?
I think we lack perspective on how we are all conservative and liberal to a degree. So we're all conservative about the things that we want to keep, and we're all liberal about the things that we want to change. And I think that we took a lot of ideas from academia that were theorized that wouldn't really play out well in reality when it came to intergender dynamics. And so when we removed some of these, what would be considered now more traditional gender roles, gender facets, we never considered why they were there in the first place. So
can you give me an example of one of those that you say we were removed?
Yes. So one thing that I think has been misconstrued is actually through anthropology. Margaret Mead, she was an anthropologist. She was one of the first female anthropologists to begin with. And so she broke some glass ceilings, also broke a lot of hearts along the way, both men and women's. So one of your first bi chicks of all time. But she went and observed other cultures and found that they had multiple genders. But she did observe a finite number of genders. So I guess my understanding is when she came back to American academia, she basically tried to say that gender was a social construct. And that it made sense to a degree, right? There is masculine man in most cultures, masculine man, feminine man, and then masculine woman. But that doesn't mean that it's completely fluid. Like the non-binary thing, I think that was extrapolated from her notions. So we got rid of these, binaries that most of us probably fall into in one way, shape, or form. Or some people are still working to get rid of these things, and they might have had inherent value in the first place. They might not have even been bad. So my question is, why are we trying to get rid of or change something that might be beneficial, useful, romantic even?
Are we getting rid of that? Do we feel like that is being removed from society, gang?
Where are your strong red pill hates feminist people? Where are they at on this panel, Wick?
You know what? I'll be the strong hates red pill.
Oh my!
Feminist.
Now moderator has to
Well,
play.
I'm not a feminist. I mean, I'm not. I
You're the
wouldn't say I'm
strongest
hateful.
feminist here, man. You do extreme. Well, except for maybe Madame Genevieve. Well, yeah, you're an
So,
empowered woman online, being hyper masculine and hyper intellectual, arguing and debating people. You might be the highest testosterone in this whole room right now.
I don't see how that makes me feminist. I think that that could be a consequence of capitalism and being past the Industrial Revolution. I don't think this has anything necessarily to do with Susan B. Anthony or Margaret Sanger. I just literally think that capitalism being done with the Industrial Revolution, that's enabled me to have this ability to be online. And also like Christian principles and values where women have been given, I guess, more autonomy than in some Eastern cultures.
Well, okay, Industrial Revolution is like 1700s, though, right? Women haven't been working since 1820 in the same capacity as they are today, right? Mm-hmm. So I do think you bring up something interesting there. Okay, if no one else wants to be strong, I'll throw this out here, okay? And then you guys can tell this. This is what I feel like has happened to some extent in human society, okay? I feel like over the past, 50 years, I think that men were socialized in a certain way to be masculine. Part of being masculine, part of the role that you fulfill in society was working a job and being productive. Women were socialized to be women, and part of your job was essentially to work as a cog in a man's life to where you took care of the household and empowered him to go and pursue work. That was generally the role of the woman. So you take care of the family, take care of the house. And this worked insofar as the family structure was concerned. I feel like something that's happened over the past 20 or 30 years is women have evolved significantly such that not only were they socialized with all the feminine aspects, they've also grown into these roles in terms of taking care of jobs. Like now they can work, and now they have reproductive freedom. So they've basically encapsulated both sides of the gender paradigm, and men are kind of left out here with only that masculine paradigm that's not enough to appeal to somebody in a relationship anymore. 50 years ago, a woman might say, well, what do you bring to the table? And I say, a paycheck. Now if a woman says, what do you bring to the table? It's like, a paycheck, I guess. And the woman's like, I don't need your paycheck, and I can without having to worry about getting pregnant. So I don't even need you for sex because I've got birth control. I think that the problem right now is men have to figure out a way to offer something that women actually want, because in a relationship where you're going to get pregnant isn't a requirement anymore, and paychecks are something that women can earn.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't disagree with that at all, but the thing that men aren't bringing to the table is masculinity, though.
But I disagree. Women have
Yeah.
all the masculinity, right? They work jobs and they can provide for themselves. Having
If you think that masculinity is solely tied down to income, I think that that's a really narrow view and understanding of masculinity. I think there's much more than that. That a man could bring to the table, and that is probably what most men are missing, that are second class in their relationships, if they're even in relationships at all. Certainly involuntarily celibate men, I think very few women would look at them in public, some of the ones that we come across in the grocery store, and I don't think we would find them to be masculine at all.
Yeah, but
that's
the problem
what's
is
missing.
I think
and it's not all women.
But your brain there is going to be rating on a curve. I think that's the issue. And this is the thing, fundamentally, this is what I disagree with red pillars, is they say, okay, listen, I understand that men are masculine, but women are masculine now. Now you need to be hyper masculine. Women have evolved by embracing their masculinity as an opposite to their femininity, and men are supposed to evolve by being even more masculine. I think that can work for 1% of men, but we're grading on a curve. Not every guy can be 6 feet tall. Not every guy can be shredded. Not every guy can be earning 6 figures, massive income. By just pushing men to be, you got to be even more masculine than you already are to overcome the successful bridges that women have made to their masculinity. I don't know if that's possible for most men to do. I think you can hit a 1 to 5% of men that could do it, but most of them are just gonna be like, well, fuck me. I'm fucked.
Well, I'm not trying to dominate or anything like that, but I think that's insane, right? So what you're saying is probably what a lot of masculine women ask for. Well, I want a man to be my complement in life, but I'm not willing to soften up at all. And good luck finding a man like that. He has other options, right? So I don't think that men need to be more masculine for masculine women. I think that women need to embrace their feminine parts that they are often in denial about, and allow men to be masculine as well. I mean, that's the only way that it's going to work. It's a yin and a yang that works together. If you are just masculine as a woman, you're going to attract a feminine man, and then you're going to complain about him 10 to 15 years down the road.
I don't think women want to do that, though. If you're a woman and you're empowered,
that's your problem.
Well, but then the solution is just broken then, because women aren't going back to the kitchen. They're going to keep working, and women aren't getting off birth control. They're still going to want to have sex without being locked in a marriage. That's never changing. And to tell a woman that basically okay, listen, you're doing too well by embracing what were traditionally masculine things that we thought only men would ever do. You need to stop doing those things and go back to being a woman that doesn't do those things. Realistically, that's just never going to happen.
you can be a woman who works 40 hours a week and be feminine. Like I'm very confused about your understanding